video that you're going to see on Friday. It's a very special video I want to film for you guys. Before we get started, in today's video, this video is actually in collaboration with two other ladies who we all came together, and we're gonna be sharing you guys our stories on how God has moved in our lives, or we've seen some miracles happen. I have not heard the other ladies' stories, and I won't until you guys see them too. But if you have come over from their channel before watching my channel, I'll go ahead and give you a quick introduction. My name is Nicole. I actually just basically made over my channel. I had a bunch of videos up, but I decided to take them down because I wanted a fresh start, a fresh content, and I just wanted to be me. So on this channel you'll find vlogs, me talking about my faith, and here now and then cupcakes. So I am a mom of 3 boys. We currently live in Virginia, and my husband is in the military, so it's just I'm not gonna do it. So anyways, so yeah, so today's story is actually kind of be a long one, I guess you would say, a story that's very dear to me, and I hope it makes sense to you guys. Okay, so today's story actually happened 9 years ago. It happened in the year of 2012. It was actually a really good year for me. Before I really get into it, the beginning of 2012 is where I had met my husband. We had met on Christian Mingle. Everything was going fine from January all the way up until August. I'm sorry guys, I have something in my eye, I promise. Whew. And sorry, I do look like a hot mess. I have been in the midst of packing, so we're going on vacation soon. But anyways, so from January all the way up until August, everything has been great with me and him. We moved in together, all that fun stuff, and we'd enjoyed, you know, anything and everything like, you know, a normal boyfriend and girlfriend would, and all that good stuff. So, but August of 2012 was supposed to be a fun month, because that is not only mine, but my husband's birthday month as well. And we are a year and 7 days apart, literally a year and 7 days apart, but God had other plans for this birthday month. So yeah, so let me just start with this is kind of a sad story, but I promise it has a happy ending, so just bear with me. So the week of, I guess I would say the week of my husband's birthday, my mom had received, actually earlier that week, my mom had received a heart-wrenching phone call that nobody wants to receive. She had received a phone call that her brother had passed away, and it just, you know, it wasn't, I'm not gonna say how he passed away, it's just, it wasn't a very good week, and it continues to get worse. But before she got this phone call, mom, let's see, was it my mom? No, yeah, it was my mom, but my dad had noticed that my mom's head was starting to hurt, and it wasn't normally like, it wasn't your typical headache to where you take 2 Tylenol, call you in the morning sort of thing. It was like a headache, and normally 9 times out of 10, you know, people tell you to go lay down. Well, she's laid down, she's taking medicine, and you best believe that this phone call did not help her head. So we go do what we need to do for that. We travel to Arizona for all that stuff. And then we get back, and my mom gets the opportunity to go to work with my dad. My dad used to drive big tour buses to take people to museums and to casinos and all these other really cool places, and my mom got an opportunity to go with him. So during one of his trips. My mom, mind you, she was still having these headaches, and there was this lady who always traveled with my dad, and thank goodness she was a nurse, because my mom had kept telling her, hey, my head's really hurting. And mind you, she was having this headache all the way traveling to Arizona and all the way back. My sister and I didn't even know what to think. We thought it was just a really like a dragged out migraine that maybe she would have to go to the doctor and get prescription for, but nay, that wasn't the case. But anyways, she had kept telling this lady, you know, hey, you know, my head's really hurting, I can barely see, you know, and this lady, the sweet lady, was like, yeah, you're not looking right. So thankfully, my dad was on his last route dropping people off heading back home, and this lady had told my dad, you know, hey, you need to get her to the hospital immediately, something's not right, her head should not be hurting. And you know, sometimes when you get a headache, your eyes can get so bloodshot, like it looks like your eyes are filled with blood, but you know, just you don't look right. And so he was like, no, you need to get her to the hospital immediately. So that night when they came home, my sister had called me and said, hey, you know, we're rushing mom to the hospital, something's not right, her head's still hurting, nothing's helping. So of course, knowing me, mind you, my mom and I are like this, like extremely close. So mind you, I hung up the phone, told Scott, hey, my mom's going to the hospital. He decided to stay back just in case, you know. So I go up to the nearest hospital because I took her to the hospital that was close, that was in our actual hometown, and I got up there as fast as I could. Lo and behold, she wasn't even in the room. I had asked my sister, hey, do you know what's going on? And they said they just took her back to look for an x-ray. Well, they probably about 5-10 minutes after I got there, they wheeled her back in, and I wasted their time. I literally had asked, hey, what's going on with her? And not the news anybody wants to hear. We had received the news that she had some major brain bleeding, and they could not do any more, but they would have to get her to another hospital, which was downtown from where we live. So they were waiting on the paramedics to get there because obviously she had to go by ambulance. And so we followed the paramedics, called my dad, called Scott at the time, who was still my boyfriend at the time, and said, hey, this is what's going on, we're heading to the hospital. And so we get to the hospital, and obviously it's probably what, like I said, this was 9 years ago, so probably 9, 10, 11 o'clock already at this time. And we get to the hospital, and they immediately take her to ICU, and they had to literally sedate her to the point to where she was basically numb. She couldn't feel any pain. I mean, she was conscious, she knew what was kind of going on, but she was in and out because of her head hurting so bad. And the only thing they told us to do, the best thing for us to do, was to go home and come back tomorrow, because the neurologist isn't in, but we're going to take another x-ray so they can see more detail on what's going on. The hospital that she had come from wasn't that advanced, didn't have had x-rays and all that stuff, but didn't have a neurologist or anything on hand. So we did that. We came back the next day, and of course they had already taken her back to an x-ray to see more in depth of really what's going on. And we waited and waited and waited, and finally the neurologist who was, I don't want to say assigned to this case because that sounds bad, but who was assigned to her to go more in detail of what's going on, had came and told us the news we did not want to hear, had told us that obviously my mom indeed had a brain bleed, and it was an aneurysm. It was, in his words, a ticking time bomb. Literally wasted no time saying these words, and I knew why he said it. He was trying to be gentle as possible, but I could already tell, like, you know, I can read people, how it's just, you know, how their body language is. He's the kind of neurologist that doesn't waste any time, will tell you the truth. It won't BS around, you know, what you want to hear. And anyways, but he said she's got basically, she's got an aneurysm in her head, and it's going to blow literally in 6 months. So here's what he said. He goes, you have two options. You've got, we can sedate her as much as possible, and we can send her home, but she's gonna have these headaches, and you're not gonna have a mom/wife. Mind you, my dad was in the hospital at this time, you know, listening to all this, where you won't have a mom or a wife in 6 months, or we can get ready to operate the next day, because I guess they needed to gather a team, do what they needed to do. So obviously we all said operate, you know, we don't want to lose her, you know, operate it now. Well, obviously they couldn't operate. So here we are, the last week of August, and then the following day was my birthday, actually. And for somebody like me, I mean, I was turning 24. Yeah, I was turning 24. You know, and typical 24-year-old wants to go out, like, well, I'm not usually a big partier, but wanted to go out, have fun, had plans with Scott. No, that was not my plan. God said, no, you need to be here. So so on my birthday, we all went to the hospital. We, you know, like I said, he was a very polite guy. He was very honest. He did not tell us to, like, he didn't say, you know, say your last goodbyes. He just said, tell her you love her, tell her you'll see her when she gets done. He did not say, you know, say your last goodbyes or anything. So you can imagine her surgery literally took, if I got my math correct, it literally took 12 hours. 12 hours for them to operate on this, and that's okay. Now that I look back at it, that's fine. I'm glad they didn't rush through it, because there was a lot of bleeding, he had come to say. So we had family come up there. We had, you know, people saying, you know, they weren't rudely trying to get me out of the hospital, trying to go enjoy myself, because they knew I wasn't going to leave, but they kept saying, hey, you need to go walk around, you need to clear your mind. I could tell you, my mom or my dad and I were probably like, we were white, we were pale white as probably this painting right here, because we were so worried. They had put us in a waiting room, kind of like, it's one of those waiting rooms that the surgery room, it was down the hall, but they would call and update. And we, don't get me wrong, we were getting updates left and right, saying she's still breathing. They would update us on her blood pressure. They would update us on how the surgery's going, how many hours are left, if he's got to the, you know, where he needs to be, all that good stuff. And each phone call, sorry, I'm hearing thunder. Each phone call we got was, hey, you know, this is where we're at, this is how long it's gonna take. Well, after 1,000 years of waiting, that felt like, 11 o'clock at night, yeah, I think that's 12 hours. This is gonna bug me. 11 o'clock at nighttime, the doctor had finally came in and said she did okay. We clipped it. They had to clip it or curl it. They had to clip it. I mean, they did something to it. I don't even remember. And I really wish I could have, not to be gruesome, but I was kind of curious at the time to see how big this aneurysm was, because even though I didn't say it in the beginning, I was actually in medical school trying to become a medical assistant when all this was happening. So obviously I had to drop out, and because obviously my mom came first, and no, I didn't have kids at the time, so. But I kept asking for x-rays. I'd literally show you guys, not to be gross, but show you how big this aneurysm is, because he even said this was a huge aneurysm. So, but they got it. They said, of course, the next 48 hours is very critical. So, between all this was going on, I kept hearing people say, you know, you need to trust God. You need to keep your eyes on Him. You know, he's got a plan. And of course, I know now that I know what they meant by that. But in the moment, I wasn't mad at God. I was just focused on my mom. My mom was the only thing I was focused on. I wasn't, no offense to Scott, but I wasn't focused on him. I wasn't focused on, you know, my birthday. I was focused on her. I didn't want to lose her. And that's what I kept telling people. And they, you know, luckily I had friends who understood, you know, but kept going back. Even my husband kept going back to scripture. And the thing I was proud of myself was I didn't argue because I wanted to hear it. I knew they were telling me the right things. It's just in the moment I didn't want to hear. I just wanted to hear my mom was going to be okay. Again, so going back, 48 hours were very critical. After the 48 hours, and mind you, she was in the ICU still. My mom had, I'll go ahead and say this. My mom was in the ICU from the day she got to the other hospital to the end of September. I mean, she was in the ICU a lot, obviously, you know, because of what happened. But we had our trials, and we had, you know, our good times, and we definitely had our trials. I was there literally every day. I was telling, you know, the nurse, I kept asking the nurses what's going on. I remember even sitting there playing on my tablet or whatnot for like a whole 8 hours because all my mom did was sleep. I didn't want to leave her side, you know. But to come to a long story short, she, as the days went on, she started getting slowly but better, I guess you'd say. Slowly but surely, she was starting to get a tiny bit better. They did tell us, however, she will have short-term memory loss there for a while. It will slowly start coming back. Things will come back to her, but in due time, you know, things will just start slowly coming back. And then she will need therapy to make sure, you know, she can have, I can't remember what side it was, but one of her sides was kind of droopy. Mom, I love you if you're watching this, but it was kind of droopy, and she wasn't, it was just, oh goodness, it was all over the place. So you're probably all wondering, like, okay, so where did you see God move you in all this? All right, so in that time, like I said, I didn't want to hear anything but my mom was going to be okay. But now that I think about it, as I sit here and just think about, you know, first of all, I do thank the Lord every day for her. She, you know, obviously she's still here with us today. That's the good part, but the story's pretty sad. I'm proud of myself that I didn't, you know, cry while I was telling you all this. But you know, like my dad said, God wasn't through with it. God isn't done with her yet. Didn't want her to come home yet. It wasn't time. And luckily for us, she's still here. But back then I was like, you know, I didn't want to hear it, honestly. I didn't want to hear it at all. Just wanted to hear my mom was going to be okay. But now I'm learning through all this is the thing I have to learn through everything, no matter that happened or anything that's going on in my life or in my kid's life or in my husband's life, is to keep my eyes focused on the Lord. I know that He's got a plan, and it's very hard for me to be patient because I am not a patient person. I'm like my dad, I'm more of a get done kind of person, like it's got to be done now, or it's got to be done, not necessarily in my way, it just has to be done. But I have learned through these 9 years that to be patient, to keep my eyes focused on Him. I'm not saying I do that. I fail Him every day. I know I do. I'm not gonna be afraid of it. We all do. It's not, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I'll admit it. I fail the Lord every day, but I know now is to keep my eyes focused on Him, because I know He's got a plan. I know it's a good plan, and I know it's what He sees best fit. That makes sense. Well, he sees what's best. So the way, I guess, you know, I see how, you know, God gave my mom a second chance, gave our family a second chance. And like, it's just a miracle how a woman who almost literally died within 6 months of that brain bleed just comes slowly out of recovery. And now she's a healthy woman. She's a go-getter. She does have her moments. And surprisingly, the only side effect we are left with through all this is that she gets very hurt. She gets her feelings hurt very easily, and nothing to be ashamed about. Just, you know, it's just, if that's one thing we could take away from, shoot, because there are some people who go through this, or don't even make it through this, but who have come out of this and has been left paralyzed, have been left, you know, not able to, you know, like I said, paralyzed, not being able to speak right, not being able to live a normal life. And when I said that she kind of droop down, she did end up having a seizure, a stroke during all this process, but it was a very, very small one, but it did still affect her. Like I said, now I know through all this that he changed my heart, not only with Scott's help too, because before I met Scott, like you've heard me say before, I knew about the Bible, I just did not know where to find things. I did not know how to read the Bible. I knew how to read. Okay. I know how to read, I just didn't know where to start in the Bible. Clarify that. But now I'm sitting here, you know, when people tell me stories and everything, and I say, hey, can I pray for you? Or hey, you know, or if my husband says, keep them in your prayers, I sit in this corner or wherever I'm at, or I try to at least sit in this corner wherever I'm at, and I'll do my daily study, and then I will, at the end of every morning, I will sit here and I will tell God, thank you for my family. Thank you for my little family. Thank you for the people you've brought into my life. Not necessarily all in this order, but I make sure I thank the good Lord upstairs, because without him, nothing, none of it, not even my mom's issue, I guess you would say, she wouldn't be here. So I don't know if all of this had made sense, but I hope it did to you guys. God really has changed my heart. Again, I fail the man every day. I'm not afraid to admit that, but I know I'm starting to catch myself, and if I had to learn anything through this whole process, it's to keep my eyes focused on him. I saw the miracle that he did, because again, I could be sitting here 9 years. I hope I'm doing my math correctly. With no mom. So, and you know, she still has her good days. She still has her bad days. Like we all do, but you know, but yeah. So I hope this story made sense to you guys. She's healthy now. There was a secret that was just told to her actually at the beginning of this year, because she had to go every 6 months and at least every year to get her brain checked out. We did find out that she did have a total of 7 aneurysms in her head, and the biggest one was taken care of, and the little ones were they were just pea-sized, as he said, pea-sized, and they can get, every time they watch, scan her brain, make sure they're not growing, they're not starting to do what they do, but they would start scheduling stuff to fix them. I think they called coral them, something like that, so they won't explode, they won't do anything. So, but just this year when she went, actually we got two good news. The good news was that he had told her he didn't want to see her anymore for 3 years, which was amazing. It was something so good to hear. And the first words out of my mouth was praise Jesus, that, you know, thank goodness. You need to be, you know, told my mom, you need to be thanking the Lord above that you don't have to see this neurologist anymore for at least 3 years. Because again, she had to keep going. At first it was every few weeks, and then it was every 3 months, and then it was every 6 months, and then it started becoming yearly. Like, I had to go in for make sure nothing was growing, nothing was appearing. And then he told my mom and my mom's friend a secret that he was kind of afraid to share in the beginning, obviously, because obviously we didn't know, you know, this could have taken a turn for the worse. But he had told my mom that the first 6 hours of surgery, he thought they were gonna lose her because he could not stop the bleeding. And he, according to my mom about what he said that he was telling the nurses, I don't know how I'm going to tell this family. I don't want to tell this family that they lost their mom or their wife. I can't do it. I can't. And I guess he had told my mom that he usually isn't that type of I mean, obviously, I'm sure with him being a neurologist, he's probably delivered some bad news in his lifetime. But I guess it was just something about this whole situation that he didn't want to deliver the news. So he kept saying to my mom that he was praying as he was working on her, like, you know, she can't go, you know, please don't take her, you know, whatever he was doing. But that made my mom cry. That made my mom's friend tear up. That made me cry. I didn't cry over the phone when she told me, but when I got the phone, I started crying. It's just amazing what God does, you know. It's just amazing to me. So here we are in 2021, despite of everything that has happened. She's healthy, she's living life, she's so happy she does not have to see the neurologist anymore for at least 3 years. And she thanks God every day that she's still here. I think I've opened her eyes more. I think she's more proud of me than ever because of me getting more involved in the Word and everything, with all that good stuff. So I'm sorry. So I believe that this was all God's doing, and I believe, like I said in the beginning, he has a plan. He has a plan for you, he has a plan for me, he has a plan for everybody, and without him none of this would be possible. So before I exit out of here, I guess I would say, I wanted to read a verse to you guys that I thought was perfect for this story, and I will read it, but I will also put it on the screen too. It's coming from Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 8, and it says, "And the Lord, he is the one who goes before you. He will be with you, he will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be dismayed." That verse, yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a powerful one. So again, that came from Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. And I wish this song, hello thunder. Okay, I'm trying to film here. I wish this song that I'm about to tell you guys was around when all this was going on. I'm sure all of you have heard of Lauren Daigle. I mean, who hasn't heard of her? But the song "Remember" is a powerful song. If you go listen to it, it's just basically, you know, you're having a hard time, and you know, you're forgetting what's going on, but you know, you're always remembering that God is there with you, and he's gonna bring you out. You know, he brings you to it, he's gonna see you through it. So anyways, that song's called "Remember" by Lauren Daigle, if anybody is curious about it. But anyways, so I hope you all had understood this story. Like I said, I had to get it all together because, you know, it's a story that won't leave, but sometimes it get mumbled jumbled in my brain. So, but I hope you all understood what I was saying. Hope you understood, you know, the whole point of the story. I thank you all if y'all made it this far of hearing this story. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to all the ladies who collabed with me on this, and thank you to Mercy for you know, asking me to do this with her. Go check out their channels, go listen to their stories. I'm sure they're beautiful and powerful ones just as well. I'm not going to give you guys, I'm not going to tell you all to subscribe or go to my Instagram because I don't think that's appropriate for this video. I just hope you all understood what I was trying to tell you guys. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend whenever you all see this. I hope you all stay very blessed. And if you feel like, I encourage you to go listen to that song. It's called Remember. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next one. Stay blessed, guys. Bye.